AI masking is fast, but it's also the reason sometimes your edits look completely fake. Hard edges, halos that look cut out, you've probably seen it. But this new update in Luminar Neo fixes that in seconds, and it completely changes how usable AI masking actually is. If, that is, you know how to use it. So let's explore this new feature on a landscape photo. Let's get into it. So let's kick things off with a simple develop raw. I'm just going to hit auto adjust and see what it does for me. Brings back a lot of those highlights. It's not perfect, but I don't want to waste time there. Let's throw on a bit of accent AI. Don't want that everywhere in the photo. And let's jump into our masking and apply one of my favorite masks, which is the radial mask. This one we can actually change into an ellipse, we can rotate, and so it's a really nice way to just feather our effect into the scene, something like that. Let's have a little look. Before and after. And straight away you can already see how powerful feathering a mask can be, because if we apply something like structure AI, look at this, it's just ugly over the whole photo. However, if I bring your attention just to the mountains only and we look at the before, very lackluster, missing contrast, and after, that addition of structure AI might really help us, but we don't want it everywhere else in the photo. Now the quickest way to mask would be to grab Object Select AI, come in and just select those mountains. You just click on the object you want and Luminar's AI is going to select it. But obviously what we've got at the moment is not a particularly accurate mask. And if we look at the before and after, you kind of get away with it a little bit with something like structure AI, but something that was more apparent, you would definitely see those hard edges. So the easiest way to see what's going on here is just to show the mask, and if you can't see any of your mask options, you need to drop down that mask action section, and then you'll see this feather slider, and this is where the magic happens for us, because as you can see, we now have a softly bled edge around that mask. So without any feathering, and with all the feathering, let's put 71% on for now, and let's have a little look what that's done for us, before and after. Probably a little too heavy-handed, so we'll just bring it back a little bit, before and after. Now before we move on, what I want to do is actually borrow this mask because I'm not done with the mountains yet. So come into that mask action section again, and we're going to copy the mask. So all of this red area here, we can reuse that. So this time I am going to come down to the super contrast tool, and that allows us to independently control the highlights, control the midtones, and also control the shadows as well. What I want to do is just bring a bit more life to those mountains. If we look at the before and after, straight out of the box, we're affecting the whole photo at the moment, and it's okay, but I really want to just enhance the mountains. We have this balance slider here, which actually allows us to either brighten those midtones up or darken them down further. So for now, something like this is okay. I just want to apply it to the mountains. So within masking, I can now paste the mask that we borrowed before. So I've just hit paste before and after. You can see that that mask is now applied with the feathering onto the mountains, and that is exactly where we're now getting that effect. So if we toggle to the original photo, our starting point, and where we've got to already, it's in a much better place, right? Because all the interesting light is focused in this little valley of the mountains here, there's nothing interesting going on with the grass. So let's see if we can't fix that with the new masking tools. So I'm going to come into masking and I'm going to select by color. The AI does an analysis of the scene, and now with this eyedropper tool, I'm just going to click on the brightest part of the grass. But as you can see, we've actually selected a lot of the grass, way more than I want. So we have this range slider here that allows us to actually refine that selection and make it a lot tighter than what it initially gives us. So I'm going to bring this all the way down. Somewhere around 2 might be okay, before and after. And now I'm going to come into my adjustments and make the changes I'm after. Now if I grab the exposure and start brightening this up, which is what I want to do ultimately, just brighten this grass up, and push the color away from a bluey green more into a yellow green. So I want to just bring the temperature up as if this area is being hit by sunlight. But currently this looks pretty awful, and that's one of the things you find with that particular mask. You get this mottling effect where it bleeds out. So let's see again in the mask actions whether we can grab this feather slider and just start to bleed that off so that we get the effect, but we get it just introduced a little more believably. And now we can combine that mask with the brush tool. So if we feel like there's just a little bit too much, I really want that light just focused around the top part of the grass there, before and after, much more subtle, much more believable, and it's all down to that feathering slider. So look how abrupt that is without it, and then we're able just to play with this and create something that looks a lot more believable. I think we're just a little bit too bright off to the right hand side here. This section's just calling for too much attention, so we'll just knock that back a little bit. That's fine. Now, what about the stream? What if we wanted to really bring our viewers' attention towards this lead-in line, which really helps guide the viewer's eye in? Currently, it's a bit of a dull grey colour, so let's see if we can't intensify that using these masks. So I'm going to masking inside the develop tool, because that's going to allow me to brighten that up. I'm going to come to the object select AI again. Another quick analysis is done, and now I just click on the water and it's selected all of that water for us. And to be honest, it's not a terrible mask as it is. We could probably get away with that, but let's have a look. So I've got my highlight warnings on, and if you want to see those at any point, you can click these little circles up here on the histogram, or alternatively, just press J on your keyboard, and that's going to let you know if you've gone to pure white. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're just inside pure white, something like that's good. And if we look at the before and after of that, it's pretty accurate around the stream, but to be honest, I still think we would benefit from just feathering those edges off just a little bit before and after. Before and after. Yep, I think that's going to work well for us. As you can see, when I was taking this, I couldn't get beyond this little fence here, and that really is quite distracting in the foreground. So before I go any further, I want to take care of this crop. So I want to come down to the bottom control line and just bring that up so it's sitting above those fence posts. And now I can move that left and right just to decide exactly how I want this framed up. I think that's pretty good. It's kind of annoying me that we don't have any true sunlight coming through here. It's all happening behind this cloud. So I'm going to use Luminar's Sunrays tool just to see if we can't fake in a little bit of sun. So I'm just going to grab the place sun center, obviously move that over to the area where it should belong. And the key here is to grab the penetration slider and just play with that to make sure that not too much of that sunlight and rays is actually forcing its way through the cloud. And if I'm happy with that, I just need to move into my masking section, because we don't want to just apply it as it is. We want to say, hey, apply most of the effect where I've applied this radial filter before and after, so it's not affecting the whole photo. And I also want to make an adjustment with my brush in erase mode and just get rid of these beams at the top here, because I just want the beams to be coming down into the photo, not going up and out of the frame. Before and after, I'm happy with that. Now, I still don't feel like we've got enough light on the top of the grass here, so I'm going to try a different tool, the dramatic filter, and just see if we can't push even more light up onto there. So before and after, this does a lot of heavy lifting for us straight out of the box. I really like this effect. Always good to play with the local contrast slider as well and just get a feel for that. Usually I prefer taking this to the left for a more natural result, but in this case it's going to help us sculpt the grass if we actually add more local contrast. Something like that's pretty good. And now with my mask, I'll close that down, so I need to jump into the edit stack where all of our history of our editing exists. We can revisit any tool, so I'll revisit that dramatic tool because I want to come in with a mask and apply it specifically to this area. This time, rather than using the color select mask, I'm going to use the luminosity mask. But it works in a similar way in that we can come over to our photo and click on the area we want to select. This time it's made a selection based on the brightness values in our photo. So what I'm going to do is grab these handles, and that's just going to allow me to just really tighten that selection up. We don't really want anything being selected in the sky. Okay, we're getting close. Now I'm going to pop back out of this, and again you can see that it's too abrupt. By bringing those handles in either side, we got rid of any smooth transition, plus we've also affected areas in the sky and the mountain. So I'm just going to come to my brush tool in erase mode again very quickly with just to paint over this, and we want to make sure that I'm at 100% strength so that I can do this nice and quickly, because all we want to do is just remove it from the areas we don't want affected. Now I'll increase my softness because we are talking into the area where we want that nice smooth transition, and let's have a look at how it's looking at the moment as we go back to adjustments. before and after, it's still just a little bit too harsh. So again, this is where this new feature of feathering our mask comes in. So I'm just going to bring that amount up, switch back to adjustments, and that looks much nicer before and after, before and after. And if you decide now that it's too much at 100%, now we can just play with that amount slider to ease in the correct amount for us, somewhere around there. Now, I am a big fan of that dramatic tool because it really can help elevate our overall photo. So far, we've been masking things in locally, but I want to show you that we can actually apply this to the whole photo. This time, I'm going to bring my local contrast down. I don't want to change the brightness. I'm liking a quite dark and moody kind of photo. And if we reset the saturation to 0, we're not going to change any of the colors. All we're getting is more drama and contrast through our frame. 100% is too much. So of course we can grab that amount now and just toggle this left and right back and forth until we find that sweet spot that we're happy with. And let's go for around 38 before and after. It's subtle, but I like it. Now, to hold our viewer's attention right in the center of the frame, of course, we could add the classic vignette, but I'm going to show you something else that we could do. Because we've already looked at the super contrast tool, let me show you what else we could do with this. If I push the highlights all the way to the top, that's going to control those highlights. We can darken them down even further, and we can do the same with the midtones as well. We're going to darken those down. Now, this is making the whole photo look pretty ugly at the moment, but what I want to do is just sort of apply this as a faux vignette around the edges of the frame. So I'm also going to darken down those shadows a little bit as well, before and after. Grab my mask, and this time in paint mode, I'm just going to sort of paint this effect in. Currently I'm at 100%, so again, I may want to just feather this mask in, but I've created a faux vignette that I actually created exactly what that looked like before and after. And now what I'm going to do with the mask this time, rather than feather it because it's already very soft because I painted it with a nice soft paintbrush, this time I'm going to show you that we can actually shift this edge. So I could push that vignette further towards the edge of the frame if I want to. Alternatively, I could very easily pull it in towards the center of the frame, giving us more impact and focus in the middle part. So why don't we go for that before and after. Now there's one last bit of masking that I would like to do, and have you spotted the issue? As we've been darkening down the vignetted area, the blue of the sky up here has got oversaturated. So let's deal to that. Let's jump into the color tool. Let's come to the blue saturation, and we're just going to drop that saturation away. Somewhere around there. Now currently you can see it's affecting the whole sky, which isn't what I want. So now it's time to mask that in, and to be honest, the easiest way to mask is often just with a brush. Just paint in what you want before and after, very quick, very easy. And if you're working with a nice soft brush with that softness at 100, you really don't need to worry about that feathering. As is often the case when I do these YouTube videos, I'll get to the end and I'll often see things that I'm just not happy with. And so I've revisited some of the tools in the edit stack, just reduced their intensity and also softened some of those masks with increased feathering as well. And I've also used some creative license with generative AI, where I've made sure the flow of the stream isn't broken by any tufts of grass. So let's take a look at the final edit. So this is our raw image, something I captured way back in 2009. And finally, 17 years later, I think it's been treated to the edit that it actually deserves. Here's our before and here's our after, courtesy of Luminar Neo's new mask feathering feature. If you haven't got Luminar Neo yet and think it'd be a good fit for your photo editing, I have a discount link in the description below, which you're more than welcome to. And if you would like to learn more about Luminar Neo, I think you might like that video right there. I'll see you in that one. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, if you liked the video, why not hit the like, by the way. You're supposed to say that on these YouTube videos. So give me a like, hit the subscribe button, all that jazz. I'll see you in that video up there. Bye-bye for now.